All right, the Chicago Bears hosted 2 wide receivers for visits at Halas Hall today. Welcome to Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. Let's start with the name a lot of you folks are familiar with, Rondale Moore, who, of course, played his college ball at Purdue right there in the Big Ten. He visited Halas Hall today. He was one of the receivers that visited today. Visited the Vikings last week as well, so making the NFC North rounds this time of year, trying to find a new home. Spent his first 3 years with Arizona. Last year with Atlanta, but did not play a snap because he had a season-ending knee injury in training camp. This got my attention when I saw the rap sheet tweet earlier today because Rondale Moore, I think, has always been a what-if player, right? Because he took the college football by storm as a freshman. He has flashed in the NFL, but injuries have been a story of his career dating back to college, which we'll outline here. You look at his career stats, 21, 22, 23, his first 3 seasons, not earth-shattering stats, but that 22 season in particular, when he only played 8 games, had over 400 yards. You play a full season out, you're talking about like 900 yard season. So this guy has shown potential when fully healthy. Hey, he could be an effective number 3 receiver in the NFL. If you do his per year averages for those 3 seasons that he has played, 45 catches, 400 yards, and a touchdown. Listen, for what the Bears currently have, if you signed him and got something in that realm, sign me up, right? Because to me, it's pretty clear that the Bears are not going to go with a notable wide receiver 3, right? It's not going to be like last year where they had the big 3 of DJ, Keenan, and Rome. It's DJ and Rome, and then it's probably Zaccheus as your penciled in 3, and then it's complementary pieces, guys who can push Zaccheus. I think Rondale Moore would fit that mold as a speedy guy who has potential, has never quite met it, has some injury concerns, but can be a functional, rotational wide receiver that can do some different things, give you some different things that you don't currently have with his elite speed. Should the Bears sign Rondale Moore? Type S for sign or P for pass. Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. What say you? S for sign or P for pass for Rondale Moore? Now, something that just has to be discussed when it comes to Rondale Moore is he does have a pretty extensive injury history. There's no doubt about it. Going back to Purdue, and then in the NFL as well. It's not like it's just one fluke injury that cost him a season. Grady Jarrett tore his ACL. Other than that, he's been healthy his entire career. Rondale Moore, back in 2019, had a bad grade 2 hamstring strain, missed 8 games at his second year at Purdue. 21, sprained his ankle, 3 games. 22, hamstring strain again, 3 games. Strained his groin in 22 as well. Cost him 6 more games. That's why he only played in 8 out of 17 games that year. So soft tissue injuries, right? They're popping up. And last year, tore something at his knee. It was never reported as an ACL, an MCL, or whatever. Missed the entire season with the Falcons after they completed that bizarre Desmond Ridder for Rondale Moore trade. Maybe the weirdest trade in NFL history. The point is the injuries are real and they're a legitimate concern. I would imagine a big part of the visit today is taking a physical, right? X-rays, physical. Where's he at with his body right now? The knee injury was in August, so that's 7 months ago. He probably wouldn't be medically cleared today, but is he going to be cleared by by this training camp in July? I think those are all things you would want to figure out before putting ink to paper. But man, I'll say this: I've watched this kid from afar for a long time because his freshman year at Purdue. I don't want to be hyperbolic. He was one of the most electrifying players in all of college football as a freshman at freaking Purdue. I will never forget, and I'm sure some of you guys in the chat remember this game as well, whether you're a Purdue fan, Michigan, Ohio State, Big Ten fan. His game against Ohio State in 2018 was one of the most impressive games for a freshman college football player, especially at a program like Purdue, that I can ever remember. I want to say he had 15 catches for 200 yards. I mean, it was unbelievable the game he had. Purdue put up 60 points and upset Ohio State. It's one of the more shocking games I will ever watch, I think, because I can't think of a game like it. He was the catalyst. He was unguardable by Ohio State, who was one of the blue bloods in college football. So I've always been intrigued with this guy. Like when he came out, I was like, man, like in the right offense. I remember thinking at the time, like, don't let the Chiefs get this guy because like Andy Reid will find a big role for him. But when you look at what the Bears have, I mentioned you've got your big two. Zaccheus, solid 3, but he's been a 3-4 type in his career. You throw Rondale Moore into the mix, let him go compete with the Tyler Scott, right? Like, let's see who is the cream of the crop for these depth positions. You've got depth openings. John Jackson, Samori Toure, those are practice squad bodies. Right now, you only have 4 players to me that are worthy of a 53-man roster spot. So if you sign Rondale Moore here, he would jump Toure and Jackson immediately, and he's probably in there competing with Tyler Scott. That's kind of what I look on that. So, listen, if he checks the medical boxes, sign a cheap one-year deal, come compete with Olamide Zaccheus. Come see if he can beat out Tyler Scott for a bigger role. And even if not, he might still make the team as your 5th guy anyway because right now you don't have a ton of depth there. I would expect the Bears sign a big-body receiver, but as of now, that's kind of where things sit. Okay, we'll talk about the other receiver that visited Halas Hall today. A little teaser. The Bears got a type for what they're looking to add with their next receiver signing. But first, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Prize Picks. The action on the court is red hot. If you filled out a bracket, you should do so. You should also get in on all the action with Prize Picks Daily Fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. When you first sign up and set your lineup of 2 or more players, which qualifies for a lineup with Prize Picks, play for $5, you will get a $50 bonus with our promo code CLNS. So be sure to do that. $5 to guarantee yourself an additional $50 to play with. Doesn't matter if you win or lose that first lineup. Prize Picks is awesome because you can set as many lineups as you want. You can cross over sports with your lineups. You could have a basketball player, a soccer player, a hockey player, baseball once that gets going in a couple weeks, all in your same lineup. Got a little, little fun action here, right, with the bracket action getting going here. You got the little freebie there from Broom, half a point. You take the more on that. And then you got a couple more players as well. We took the more on all of them. We're having fun here. 10 to win 50, but you can win up to 1,000 times your money on any given lineup with Prize Picks today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started right now. And listen, get in on the action, make some money. $10 billion and counting in earnings handed out with Prize Picks. You should get in on all of that action. Okay, right before we went live here on Monday, Pelissero had the note of Rondale Moore visiting, but also Mecole Hardman. And obviously, what's the first thought? Because we knew about Rondale Moore from a few hours earlier. Like, the Bears have a type of what they're looking to add here. Both these guys are very similar. Hardman has obviously had more production in the NFL. He's been healthier over his 6-year career. Now, his first 3 seasons certainly more productive than his last 3. He's kind of become a clear backup at this point, whereas early on in his Chiefs tenure, he was like their number 3 guy for most of that stretch, so he was getting decent volume share there. But this guy, a couple of things that stand out. One, Ryan Poles was on the Chiefs in the Chiefs front office when they drafted him, so there's a relationship there. 2, when you talk about both Mecole Hardman and Rondale Moore, what can they bring to the table? Speed. Gadget plays, vertical stuff. With that speed, you can create some explosives. They're also both experienced punt returners, especially Hardman. Hardman's been a punt returner out of his 6 seasons, I think 4 years. So he's a plug-and-play punt returner, and he's got more juice than a guy like DeAndre Carter. Rondale Moore did it a lot his rookie year, not as much the last couple years that he was healthy, but they can both bring that to the table. The safer play is probably Hardman. If you want to go higher ceiling, a little bit younger, maybe go take a chance on Rondale Moore. I would like to bring one of these guys in, though. Bring some juice to this offense, add some speed. We talked about it. Can you find your poor man's Jameson Williams? I do want to be clear. I don't think either of these guys are that. But if you can get that big play piece into your offense, even if it's not nearly to the level of a Jameson Williams, if you can find 5 plays over the course of a season from one of these players that change a game, that's valuable, especially if you're talking about a cheap 1-year contract. So it seems pretty clear. You bring in 2 guys like this, you're probably going to sign one of them, right? Unless both had bad medicals. So we'll see how it goes, but that's where things sit. Okay, I wanted to hit on this because you can kind of tie it back to the Bears here, but Derek Stingley signs a historic contract, the Texans all-pro corner, of a 3-year, $90 million extension, $30 per year, with just about all of it guaranteed there. And You look at the highest paid corners now, Jalen Johnson is 13th at 19 flat per year. That is, look, is Derek Stingley better than Jalen Johnson right now? Yes, I would take Derek Stingley. But I will take Jalen Johnson when I am putting my salary cap table together at $19 million per year versus Stingley at $30 per year all day. Now, to the Texans' credit, Stingley had 2 years left on his deal, so it really turns into a new 5-year contract, kind of like what the Bears did with DJ Moore last year. So if you're going to do it, get ahead of it early. But the fact they had to reset the market by $5 million, and when Jalen Johnson got signed last year, even coming off an all-pro season, they didn't even have to reset the market with him. In fact, they didn't even get within a few million of resetting the market. Like, good job by the Bears, man. Great. It's a great deal he's on. Now, Jalen had some minor injury things, that probably got brought up in negotiations and so on and so forth. Like, I'm not acting like he's getting screwed, but Jalen Johnson, to me, is one of the best corners in the game. I'd say top 6 or 8, and he's the 13th highest paid. Like, this is the advantage of when you feel strongly about a player, you'd rather pay him early than too late, because then just as time goes on, the contract ages nicely. It really, really is. And I think this is something Poles has been good at. He's had some good things. He's had some bad things. But he's paid the right guys early, I think. Cole Kmet, he's not even a top 10 highest paid tight end right now. DJ Moore, it felt like a lot last year, but with 2 years left in the contract, it spreads out and the cap hits can stay manageable. He's like the 12th highest paid receiver now. Like, Jamar Chase is clearly a lot better. He's over $40 million. DJ Moore, 28, and 2 of those years got morphed into the 4-year extension, so it's a reasonable contract. Jalen Johnson, same deal. Like, none of these guys are top 10 at their position. You could argue when all are at their best, they are top 10 players at their position. So I think the Bears have done a good job with their books. Obviously, they need to hit on more players and build this roster out better, which I think they've started to do this offseason. But you've gotten good value with some of your key guys, and that's promising when you do good business like that, because it just keeps you more flexible with your salary cap long term. Okay, appreciate everybody for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for full Bears offseason coverage. We got you covered here on a daily basis. One more nugget, by the way. There was that whole draft pick. Like, do the Bears have a 4th-round pick? Yada, yada, yada. Well, the NFL, when they announced the full draft order, incorrectly gave the Bears a 4th-round pick. I knew it at the time. I was like, this is incorrect. And PFF had them with a 4th in their simulator. Everybody's like, what's going on? It's been fixed. It's not even in the PFF simulator anymore. It is not the Bears pick. It was a trade between Dallas and Carolina. Those were the 2 teams that the debate was really over, and somehow the Bears got tied into it. Don't know how. Someone at NFL PR clearly made a mistake, but it's been rectified, and these are the picks the Bears have. 10, 39, 41, 72, 149, 233, 240. No 4th-round pick, no 6th-round pick. That is where things sit at this point in time. Doesn't mean they can't get a 4th-round pick at some point, but right now they do not have one. I got a bunch of DMs. What's going on here? Because someone did like a TikTok about it. Bears and some draft pick controversy. It was just an error by the NFL. That's no controversy. It has been cleared up. Speaking of the draft, who should the Bears draft at 10? Who do you want with that selection? Let us know in the comment section below. Obviously, a lot of Ashton Genty love right now. Do you want Armand Mimbu? Do you want Tyler Warren? Will Campbell? Plenty of options. Let us know who you want the Bears to take. And don't forget to follow me on social media, because when these stories come up, yes, we're going to hit you guys with videos on YouTube, but a lot of the time you'll first be able to find it on Twitter. That's where I'm posting every single day, at HGramNFL. So give me a follow over there as well.